I've been selling my own art and other people's art as well for years and years. And I've always liked having that control over my own images and my own ideas, right? And for me, being an entrepreneur that's why I went into entrepreneurship, is because I didn't like people telling me what to do or how to do it or how to, present things or whatever, which is fine. I mean, teamwork is great, and working corporate or working in different situations is awesome. But for me, it's really important to me to just follow my own ideas and develop my own ideas without that leash and that, like, you can't do this and you can't do that. So the self-publishing was an easy decision for me, for sure. I think some people forget. They're like, I'm just going to publish a book, or I'm just going to make a piece of art, or I'm just going to put something out on the market. And they forget that they have to like do a book tour, and they have to do social media, and they have to do events, and they have to do a launch, and they have to do a sale and a promo. And then all year you have to keep marketing this thing, right? So I think that is one of the things I think a lot of artists and a lot of writers forget about too, right? Like, it's not just the publisher, that whatever publisher you're with, they're not just going to do all the work for you, right? There's a lot of work that you
Absolutely.
have to put in to all of your creative projects for them to succeed, right? And things are not an overnight success, right? Like, you can sell 100 books in the first week and then sell nothing for another year, right? So it just depends really on how committed you are to the project, right? And how dedicated you are to the constant marketing and the business side of it all.
Definitely. I think that there are people who are really comfortable with just, producing the project for their family, for their friends, and then sitting back, and now it's a beautiful legacy or memento that they have to hold on
Yeah.
to. But for those that are looking to pursue authorpreneurship and really
Yes.
turn their written work into a business or into a sustainable income stream,
Yes.
that marketing and that hustle is really important.
Absolutely.
Where did your know-how of that process come from? I know you've been an entrepreneur and a creative entrepreneur specifically for many years. So how has that landscape changed, and what does that learning process look like over time?
Well, a lot of it is trial by error. When I started, I went from a traditional job teaching high school into full on events and marketing and trying to sell my artwork, and then trying to sell classes and trying to sell education, and then developing and growing that. But that was all a lot of trial and error. I listened to hundreds of ebooks and podcasts, and I learned from other people. I follow tons of entrepreneurs in the creative space. So I didn't go to business school. I took a lot of business courses, read a lot of business books, and just watched and observed what other people were doing. And that's kind of how I learned things. And now, of course, I have more like connections and contacts, that I can talk to face to face, but I still enjoy like reading a ton of books about self-improvement and business development. And I really just like watch what other people are doing and then try to apply that. And of course, like, everything that you try isn't going to work. One thing might work in your area, and then it's not going to work, the same thing next year isn't going to work, right? So it's an ongoing evolution all the time of this
Mm.
trial and error of what you're doing and seeing how the market responds. In addition to that, I think too, like, paying attention to what people want is a huge thing, right? I think a lot of artists and a lot of writers, a lot of creative people, filmmakers, all sorts of people who create for themselves. And yes, that's important, but if you're creating always for yourself without looking at what and analyzing what the market is actually needing, then there is this real hard process and this hard journey in order to like actually make a living out of it, right? And a lot of people, I think, to want to make the transition from like working as a full-time teacher, for example, to working as a writer or an author or an artist or whatever, and they forget that part, right? That it like
Mm.
takes a lot of time to build something. You can't build a company overnight, right? It's going to take years to do that, right? So the commitment level really is a high level of dedication and doing whatever it takes to make it all work, right?
Definitely. I think, one of the things that you mentioned that stood out to me and that I've heard kind of echoed from our own book marketing consultants is immersing yourself in the environment that you wish to be a part of. So that community of entrepreneurs and people who are out there living the life that you want to live and to be a part of. And so reading their ebooks and joining in on their communities and those discussions on social media, I think is a really great place for anybody to start if they are looking to kind of get their feet wet and see what that journey looks like.
You kind of touched on it too. It's all about liking something first. And authors and artists do this all the time. We think of something and then we create it into reality. But if you're not thinking of yourself as the author, as the expert, as the person who has this rich, beautiful life, like you have to imagine that also first and then build it, right? So it's kind of like going into that whole energy and that manifestation and surrounding yourself with this community, but also believing in yourself enough that you can make it happen, right? And if you don't believe in yourself, it's never going to happen for you either, right? Like no matter how good you are of an author, an artist, if you don't believe in yourself, you don't imagine yourself, you don't picture yourself as the success, it will never happen for you because you're repelling it too, right? So there's an element of that as well, of that energy and that belief and that determination, because you can be surrounded by the best people all the time, and if you don't have that attitude and that belief, it's just not going to work out, you know.
Thinking about self-publishing but not sure where to start? That's where Tellwell Publishing comes in. We offer assisted self-publishing services to help you bring your book to life your way. From editing and design to marketing and distribution, Tellwell's team works with you to create a book you'll be proud of while you keep creative control. From Lamar Jackson and Cindy Cherry to Kaya Usher and Rita Kakati Shah, Tellwell has helped thousands of authors publish their book with confidence. Visit tellwellpublishing.com to start your journey.